Disclaimer: this is a student presentation using a hypothetical scenario for educational purposes. The presenter is a student at UAMS, not a representative of the agency named in the following slides. The information contained herein does not necessarily reflect the views of said agency. Greetings, colleagues and friends. Thank you for joining me. I am Katherine and I work with the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality. I have the privilege of working with small-scale farmers from across our state as we explore the best ways to feed our citizens, sustain our livelihoods, and protect our environment. Not only is it possible to do all three, but it is possible for success to be magnified if and only if we do all three. Today I'm going to share with you a few key points. I will cover the evolution from small-scale farming to becoming a cog in the wheel of agribusiness. I will cover problems with large-scale farming as they relate to humans, the environment, and animal welfare, focusing primarily on pig and poultry production. And then I will cover what a better way forward could look like. Today, I invite you to go on a journey with me. I ask you to picture yourself as a small-scale farmer in any one of a number of Arkansas's rural counties. You are in your early 50s and are a third-generation farmer. You remember growing up in a small but vibrant rural community. Nearly every one of your school classmates came from farming families. There was one doctor and a few professionals, like lawyers and accountants, in town, but the overwhelming majority of your community was involved in farming. From the time when you were in elementary school until now, you've seen families in your community leave farming and move to cities. You've seen farmers sell their land to corporations and stay on to farm the land as employee farmers. You've seen people transition from complex and multifaceted farming to growing only one crop or producing only one type of livestock, all in the name of efficiency in production. You've seen your community shrink. You have concerns that the land and the farming business handed down from your grandparents to your parents and from your parents to you won't be something your own children will want to take on. At the same time, you have concerns that it is something they will want to take on. What kind of future do they have if they choose to stay on the family farm given the current trends? There is another option, though. What if you stay and make changes to your current farming business model so that both you and your children have the opportunity to earn a decent living and remain in the community that you love so well? What if several of your neighbors did the same? What if enough people in your community did this and you began attracting people back to farming rather than losing them to cities? It is not an easy change, what change is, but current trends in consumer awareness and consumption make this the perfect time to begin implementing new approaches. It is unlikely that anyone is ever going to become extraordinarily rich from farming, but it is quite possible to earn a decent living owning and working your own land, not beholden to a corporation who funnels all the risk to you and maintains a disproportionate portion of the fruits of your labor. What I would like to propose to you could be applied to any agricultural or livestock production, but we are going to focus on just poultry and pig production today. My hope is that as you begin to change your approaches and experience success in these areas, you'll want to incorporate the same with any cattle or other livestock production you have, as well as moving toward organic and integrated crop production. But for now, let's take baby steps and limit ourselves to pig and poultry production as a beginning point. As you are likely all too aware, in both poultry and pig farming, you often don't own your own livestock in any real sense of the word. You are at the mercy of the contracts with the meat production corporations with whom you work. You are provided chicks and piglets by the corporation, which you pay for. You are provided feed and antibiotics by the corporation, which you pay for. You are provided strict specifications for housing the animals and the materials to build such by the corporation, but you pay for it. You are given a specific period of time by the corporation in which to raise the animals, at which time they are bought back from you for a price set by that corporation. Any ill or underweight animals may be refused by the corporation, and any deaths that occur are at a loss for you. If you were to experience an outbreak like avian influenza or swine flu, you could lose your entire investment. If such a thing were to spread to multiple farms, the corporation might have a temporary shortage of meat to sell, but otherwise they lose nothing. You carry the burden of all of the risk and are at their mercy every step of the way. In Arkansas alone, one corporation owns 2/3 of all poultry production, with 3 other companies comprising an additional 20%. A monopoly of this magnitude makes it almost impossible for an individual farmer to hold any sort of leverage in negotiating contracts. Not only is this financially unfair and potentially unsustainable for an individual, it is environmentally disastrous. One only has to look as far as Newton County and the Buffalo River area and the activities related to the concentrated animal feeding operation of C&H hog farms to see an example of this. This hog fattening operation had the capacity for up to 6,000 hogs, and the resulting manure and urine were collected in waste lagoons to the tune of millions of gallons of waste over time. The risk to the environment was twofold. Residents and tourists alike feared the lagoons would leak and waste that is dangerous to humans would leach into the Buffalo River. The second risk was that waste that was used to fertilize crops was applied on fields very near a school and seeped into the groundwater of Big Creek that eventually drains into the Buffalo River. A multi-county volunteer group called the Buffalo River Coalition fought to bring this situation to the awareness of the public and to push back against the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality's approval of permitting for these activities. The coalition pushed for independent studies and environmental assessments, which resulted in proof that there was, in fact, leakage from the waste lagoons into the groundwater supply. Eventually, their efforts prevailed, and the state of Arkansas resolved the situation by purchasing the operation, draining the lagoons, and removing contaminated soil. From 2014, when C&H Hog Farms began its large-scale production, to 2019, when the state of Arkansas purchased the land from C&H Hog Farms and began cleanup, we see an example of what a group of united citizens can achieve. Sometimes citizen pressure is key, and other times it is the legal system. It took 17 years for a ruling to be issued, but Arkansas poultry producers were found to be liable for causing harm to the Illinois River, which runs through both Arkansas and Oklahoma. Concentrated phosphorus from chicken and turkey litter applied as fertilizer seeped into the groundwater, feeding the Illinois River and causing increased growth of algae. Liability has been established. A way forward is still being determined. In addition to financial feasibility for an individual farmer in an agribusiness scenario and concerns about environmental hazards, a third concern is the well-being of the livestock. You do not have to be an ardent animal rights activist to recognize the physical and psychological harm done to livestock in large-scale production. From significant overcrowding in chicken and turkey production to inhumane crating conditions of pigs, treatment of livestock in large-scale production efforts is problematic. For both poultry and pigs, from birth through breeding to transportation to slaughter, animal well-being is generally a fairly low priority. If the current approach to pig and poultry farming is proven to be bad for small farmers, bad for the environment, and bad for animals, seeking a better approach is an obvious solution, albeit not a simple one. There is no single solution or program to join, but there are a number of opportunities to transform the way we farm. The beauty of this is that one farmer or pair of farmers may pursue whatever fits their goals best, and it may well be that a combination of opportunities provides the solution. Community-supported agriculture, or CSAs, are networks of producers and buyers linked through the informal market. Small-scale producers can join CSAs as a way to market their products. While there is an emphasis on fresh produce, many CSAs offer dairy products and meats as well. There is a burgeoning farm-to-table movement in the United States, and while slightly slower to catch on in Arkansas, this is becoming more popular. We have an advantage in being a small state because a producer who makes his or her own deliveries is able to drive from his or her farm to a metropolitan area and back again within a day. Consumers that value ethically produced meat products are willing to pay more for it, making production and delivery an economically viable option. Pork and poultry producers who are not interested in flying solo in such endeavors may join cooperatives and have the support and camaraderie that such a community provides. This may be especially critical when transitioning from an agribusiness-oriented farm to a small farm direct producer. Grassroots Farmers Co-op is one such organization that originated in Arkansas and has spread regionally. One unique example is neither a movement nor a program, but an entire town. While Wilson, Arkansas is not an example of a small-scale pig or poultry producer, it is notable that the Wilson Gardens provide produce for the town's private school and its 2 restaurants. Additionally, the whole town has come together and is managed as a small-town tourist destination. It exemplifies what a small town can be if it pursues its potential. This is a model that can be replicated elsewhere. These examples could singularly or collectively be a way forward for farmers who want to move from an agribusiness approach to a small-scale approach. The things they all have in common are humane treatment of animals and environmentally friendly farming methods. These approaches can not only be attainable, but can also be profitable. Having said that, there is a significant mindset change and a period of transition where finances could be an issue. It is doable, but I don't want to be Pollyanna-ish and make it seem like it will be easy. Working with a mentor and/or a cooperative to create and implement a business plan will be key to success. Often there are grants available for small-scale farmers who want to transform their farms to organic and free-range methods. Again, a mentor or cooperative could provide support and guidance in finding and applying for such grants. Small-scale organic farming is healthier for humans in terms of both production and consumption. Free-range, organic, and humane raising of poultry and pigs is better and healthier for the animals physically and psychologically. Small-scale, diversified, organic farming is better for the environment. Slowing the growth of cities and nurturing vibrant small-town rural communities is good for us all. While pursuing activities to achieve these things may not be problem-free, they are a vast improvement in our current trajectory. As I close, I will share my references with you. I thank you for joining me today. The Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality strives to have a healthy environment, but also believes that people have a place within the environment. We are not separate actors, but are a part of our ecosystems. Small farmers play an integral role. Together, we can achieve the goals of feeding our citizens, sustaining small farmers' livelihoods, and protecting our environment. Clearly, there are problems with quoting a slave owner when discussing farming, but recognizing those flaws, I will close with a quote from Thomas Jefferson in a letter written to George Washington in 1787, where he stated that agriculture is our wisest pursuit because it will, in the end, contribute most to real wealth, good morals, and happiness. Indeed.